You know, one of the beauties about our system of law, common law, I'm referring to now, you have previous cases to rely on. You build them up and you build them up and you build them up. There are records going back hundreds of years. The idea being precedent is set by particular cases. So if somebody is accused of or commits the same crime 10 years from now that somebody did 6 months ago, they could look back at that previous case and use the precedent set there to convict the future assailant. That is how precedent works. That's how common law works. And what we've had is a very disturbing situation where there's a certain company that was going to have their copies of their court records deleted because they were accused of incompetence. And me personally, without going into detail, I found the timing of all this very suspect, considering what was coming out at the time. And I, of course, referred to what Rupert Lowe was up to. Now, there's a very interesting tweet, which I'm going to share with you right here. And it reads, a Restore Britain government would immediately release all anonymised data, court transcripts and information relating to the brutal crimes that have been inflicted on British people by those who have no right to be in our country to begin with. We will tell you all the truth. All the truth. What we're getting very much in this country is a situation where things are happening, crimes are being committed, and then you end up in a scenario where if you speak out, if you act in relation to those crimes, you will inevitably find that you're in trouble yourself. See news articles about it all the time. Now, is this a level of appeasement? Is this trying to silence? Is this ignoring the problem? What is it? It's no bloody good. I'll tell you that for one thing. Now, to get you a level of the depravity of, some of this situation, I'm going to play this video clip here and consider this a content warning. If you are sensitive to the information that's contained within this video, then switch off now, because I wouldn't want to trigger anything. But apart from that, I think it's very important that this is heard and understood in all of its brutal detail.
2 Afghan illegal migrants jailed for raping a schoolgirl. The footage exists. She filmed herself during the rape. Even the men's barrister warned it would lead to disorder if it was released, as it was so horrific. "You're going to rape me," the girl cried as she was dragged away. She screamed for help and begged not to be taken. One of the migrants gagged her with his hand. The Afghan men forced her to perform sex acts in a secluded area. She is heard screaming for help. She calls for her friends. She wants to go home. She's pleading for help from passers-by. None came. Can you imagine her horror, her fear, her desperation? Think if it was your daughter. How would that make you feel? Honestly, think about that.
Would the Honourable Member give way?
I will give way.
He is making a very powerful introduction to his speech. He and I share profound concerns regarding the scale of illegal migrants in the UK and their ability to arrive here and disappear. The case he speaks of yesterday, the most disturbing thing for me is that we are being gaslit by the media because these 2 Afghani boat arrivals were described as being from Leamington. They're not from Leamington. Would you agree with me that women and girls are less safe in this United Kingdom now, today, than they were 5 years ago because of this race now?
I thank the Honourable Member for her intervention, and I completely agree with what you're saying. The girl was then pushed to her knees before being brutally raped. Another, one of too many. Last year, a 35-year-old Iranian small boat migrant raped a 15-year-old girl in an alleyway. He was known to police in Germany, where he was convicted of assault offences. He told the girl she could be his sex doll and that he wanted to, and I quote, fuck her, before dragging her down an alleyway, forcing her to her knees outside a secluded doorway, and then raping her. The poor girl's anguished mother later asked, why was he in this country?
Why? Why? Now that is a very short excerpt of a very large problem that's been going on for years, and you can tell how horrifying it is. And whenever this gets read out in the House, there's always somebody on the opposition benches that will completely lose it. And you heard an opposing voice over the other side, or they will come up with some political bollocks to try and sweep it under the carpet. It is no longer acceptable when we're talking about who this is affecting. How long does it have to go on for? The other thing as well, as I've mentioned before, you've got the Criminal Justice Act 1988, Section 134, which covers acquiescence, omission, complicity, and other words such as that by members of the state, people in positions of authority. If they knew something, why didn't they? You know, you could go to prison for life for that alone. I've read an awful lot of the testimony from the inquiry that Rupert crowdfunded, and to say it gave me a sleepless night is an understatement. It is absolutely abhorrent that we've allowed this to go on. Now, when you have people enter this area, let's call it England, because a lot of the victims here are English working class girls from working class families, you've got to ask, how did they get here? How did they organise? Why did they come here? What were their intentions, or what were their stated intentions? How long have they been here? How many family members are there? Who knew? This is where the rhetoric of Restore Britain is coming into play, because people have had enough of it. They've just about had enough of it. And as I say, the media just completely gaslights everything. You look at the inquiry alone, nobody, and I mean nobody in the media really covered it in any substance. I didn't see much of anything, did you? No. Why is that? Because they don't want the truth to be out. This is where social media comes in. You know, millions upon millions upon millions of views every day, bringing out situations like this that the people of this country need to know about. It is disgusting. It is despicable. And anybody that's found guilty of these heinous offences, they'll either not get the punishment that's befitting a crime, or they'll get no punishment at all. Or the ones that are in our prisons shouldn't be in our prisons. They shouldn't even be here anymore. You know, make of that what you will. The whole situation, the whole system is backwards, and this disgusting travesty has been allowed to continue unabated. And then when you get someone like Rupert Lowe pop up and say, nah, not a bit of me, we're going to put a stop to this, you look at the fuss. Look at the fuss. And again, there are various laws that no one talks about, because it will open up a hornet's nest when it comes to dealing with all of this. They need to be spoken about. The biggest thing you can do is educate yourself. Don't take things as read. Don't assume that you've been educated in the right way in school if you're younger. just read, look it up, research it, and work out what's going on. That's all you can do. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. As always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share my stuff, and I'll talk to you soon. Toodaloo.